Hello, everyone. I'm here with Aakash Chowkase, and we're going to be talking about his latest article in Gifted Child Quarterly called A Bioecological Systems View of School Experiences of High Ability Students from Rural India.
Hi, Rachel.
Glad to have you with us today. I want to jump right in. So from the title, you can tell that you're using this very comprehensive theoretical model by Bronfenbrenner. It's very complicated. What recommendations would you have for researchers who want to use a model like this that has so many layers and things to consider?
That's a great question. School realities are often complex, and therefore we must use, as educators and researchers in education, models that allow us to look at the interconnectedness of various systems. And there is not just systems in this model by Bronfenbrenner, there is also the role of proximal processes and how an individual develops. So a focus on proximal processes, that is interactions between the layers, and also an understanding of what is happening in layers outside of the school settings. That's very important. That's key. Instead of looking at variables as independent of each other, as not related and fragmented, we must look at them as a holistic set of variables contributing to a child's school experience.
So in your study, how did you do this realistically, thinking about data collection or asking students? How did you get to the multiple layers of the model?
So I went about it in an interview design. I would have loved to interview parents, but because the students, most of these students lived in residential facilities away from their hometowns, they were not with their parents. I didn't have access to parents, but I would definitely suggest other researchers to look at their school context, their parental context, family context, the village context, and gather data from multiple sources. A multi-method study would be most appropriate in this case.
Absolutely. It's hard. It's very difficult to do, but I love that you did that in this paper.
And it's harder to do it in remote locations, especially where there are access issues, not just geographical, but in all other senses, such as technology.
Absolutely. So from all this work that you've done, what would you say are the big takeaways for researchers and for practitioners?
So one thing is, a lot of world is still rural. And there is an immense untapped potential in rural parts of the world. So as educators, my first key takeaway is we must focus our attention on rural talent development. What I found was that schools that I studied were doing little for rural talent development. And these children also, and if we want to stay true to our commitment to equity and justice, we must focus on rural talent development, rural schools, and providing more access and more opportunities to these kids that otherwise will not be able to avail these facilities, such as gifted programs or additional coaching or shadow coaching or even counseling services outside of their school, even the internet or food for that matter. So key takeaway is there is a lot that needs to be done in rural talent development, and schools are probably the only avenues that can address this issue.
Well, that's good news for us as researchers and educators, because it suggests that we have a big impact. We have the ability to really change things for these students and give them what they need.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I hope everyone goes to our GCQ website and checks out this new article. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Thank you so much.